Alright guys, today we're going to be doing a bit of a different video. This is going to be something, that I think definitely is going to get scrutinized because I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just some random stupid fat American trying to babble about Canadian politics because I'm bored. So today we're going to be, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm like, yeah, why not? It's something out of the ordinary, I guess. Today we're going to be doing, pretty much, an analysis of the 2023 Canadian election, and really, the 2023 one, or no, 2021 actually, because it's going to take place this year. It'll take place in September 20th, actually. 19 days. We have. So that'll be interesting. I will definitely be looking out for that. Um, so if we're looking at in general Canada as a whole, so how Canada got to where they are now with this very liberal government. Let's go back to 2015 when Justin Trudeau ran a coalition with the New Democratic Party. I don't know if it was a coalition or not, um, but I don't know. So pretty much at the time, the Liberal Party. So back in 2011, the Stephen Harper reign, in the Conservative Party was at its all-time high in 2011, when they were at their highest of 166 seats in the Parliament, forming, I believe, the first majority government won by the Conservative Party since the 80s. Uh, Actually, no, I'm looking at the Wikipedia page over here. It says first time since 1988 that a right of center party in Canada formed a majority in the government, since the 80s. So that does prove something here. So if we look at the 2011 results, as we can see, it wasn't even close. I mean, we saw, um, you know, Harper, at the time, who was at the height of his popularity, dominate. We saw him, arguably because of the New Democratic Party gaining popularity. The Liberals kind of fell off for a while. I mean, Ignatieff, Ignatieff was, I don't know how you say that name, so I apologize. How do you say it? How do you? Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I don't. Yeah, okay, whatever. I'm Ignatieff, Ignatieff, Ignatieff. I don't know how you say that, but I mean, if we're talking about, his leadership in the Liberal Party, it was awful. The Canadian Liberal Party before the 2000s wasn't that bad of a party. Now, the only rough spot at the time was Pierre Trudeau, because Pierre Trudeau was awful. I mean, he did create their beloved healthcare system. So that is arguably what did get him reelected. For a couple of terms, but looking at the results here, again, the Liberal Party was awful under this guy. I mean, they were downgraded to a third party status. And keep in mind, I don't know how, the Conservative Party, I mean, at the time, but for a while was actually a fairly weak party, and still is. It still is a fairly weak party, but it wasn't as weak. Under Harper, were they actually tried. Under Harper, it wasn't a bad leadership at all. I mean, in this election, Harper won by over, a little over a million, 1,300,000 votes. Now if we enter 2015, Harper just, again, Trudeau. I just think Trudeau not only outraised him in money, but also, he was more charismatic. He's a younger guy. He does have the looks going for him. He doesn't look too bad, I will admit. Like, I'm not saying that as in he's cool, but I'm just saying that, he had the looks going for him. He had the charisma. Um, and ultimately, that is what makes, Trudeau. That is arguably what made Trudeau win in 2015, was his charisma. He was able, to have a wide appeal, whether it was to youth voters, which was, I believe, the highest turnout in this election was people, what was youthful voters in their, in their early 20s. And it was also, I just, again, people failed to turn out. I mean, only 68% of voters, which isn't, that's a decent amount, but 68.3% of voters turned out in this election, and Trudeau received 39.47% of them in 2015. And analyzing these results really are, Trudeau just ran a good campaign. He had the charisma going for him. He was able to appeal, and he won. I mean, if we look at the exit, I believe there should be some exit polls here. Do we have any exit polls? Election aftermath? No. Um. Oh, wait, okay. We actually got to look at spending here. Yeah, I mean, the Conservative Party actually, okay. The Conservative Party outspent the the Liberals. The Conservative Party outspent the Liberals, but at the same time, so I was wrong. I admit I was wrong, but the Conservative Party still lost, arguably because Harper was not known for his campaigning skills. He's not known for his charisma as much as Trudeau was, and that is arguably partially the reason why Trudeau won. And that was also because of a part of it was also complacency. I mean, they had been under conservative rule uh, since since 2006. I mean, they had been under conservative rule since January of 2006, and 9 years of conservative rule, and I guess it was part of it was just people were getting sick. They wanted to see something different. It's not that Harper did anything wrong, obviously. It's rather just that people were just getting sick of him. And he lost 60 seats. Trudeau's party, the Liberal Party, flipped 148. Now, granted, that is because they did flip a lot of New Democratic Party seats, and arguably, if they did not flip those seats, it would not be as big as it was. It would only been like a 90 seat swing. Now this election does remain the biggest shift for a party, I believe, in Canadian history. I mean, Harper went from in 2011 having one of the largest majorities ever to Trudeau going out there and absolutely smashing, like the Liberal Party going out there and smashing the Conservatives, arguably because, of them flipping NDP seats. Um, so, I mean, again, I mean, you can see the NDP did lose, 10 percentage points, 10%, of their vote, of the popular vote. So, yeah, and now 2019 rolls around. Some controversies are surrounding Trudeau, whether it's the whole blackface thing, you know, or the whole falling down the stairs. Basically, some stuff comes around about him in, around, you know, September of 2019, uh, and because of that, uh, and arguably because of that, that did hurt Trudeau quite a lot. He was expected, he at the time it showed a narrow race. The Conservatives definitely had a shot. Keep in mind, now analyzing 2019, this was an extremely winnable race for the Conservative Party, and the problem is the Conservatives ran awful candidates. I mean, you get Scheer, and watching those debates, Scheer didn't actually talk about really what he wanted to do. It was always, Mr. Trudeau, you suck. Now, granted, Trudeau bashing definitely did help him, but at the same time, you can't just bash one candidate and expect to win. I mean, that's what happened in 2016, where all Hillary Clinton did was bash Donald Trump, and she lost. And Scheer did nothing but bash Trudeau. And looking at, again, if you watch those debates, the leader debates, Trudeau Scheer destroyed Trudeau, but at the same time, all Scheer did was constantly hammer away at him. The first question was, how would you represent Canada on the world stage? And guess what? Scheer absolutely just rips into Trudeau for no reason. And it's like, dude, answer the question. And there was a good comment I found that was summed up. It was like the Conservative Party was Trudeau bad, Liberal Party was I swear I didn't do anything wrong. The Bloc Québécois was a hey, we might actually form a majority. The NDP was hope we can stop the Conservatives. I believe the Green Party was just happy to have one seat, and the People's Party. led by Bernier, was hey, yo, let's get rid of these immigrants. That was pretty much what that was. Now, in general, you know, 2019 was a winnable election, and the Conservative Party completely bungled it. They bungled it. Now they did gain 26 seats, which is a decent swing, and they actually won the popular vote, but still lost because they failed to make the gains in Ontario that they had expected, and that arguably is why they lost. It is because they couldn't make the gains in like the Toronto area, and also in the Ontario and Quebec provinces. That is probably that's a big reason as to why they lost, and it is also because Scheer was an awful candidate, and it was also because the Conservatives did not run good candidates. They ran weak candidates and still won the popular vote. So arguably what that does mean is they could the the Conservative Party could have easily, if you run a decent campaign, that hits Trudeau where it hurts, and you also run policies that would be popular, whether it's cutting because Trudeau's tax hikes were not good. Canada's gross domestic product actually was going down for a while. I mean, just I guess what that really meant was the Conservative Party had a shot. They had a huge shot to win it, and they bungled it. They bungled it because they didn't run good candidates and they didn't campaign well, and they still won the popular vote. So they could have easily steamrolled the Liberals in this election because the carbon tax wasn't popular when that was enacted. The legalization of weed was not that popular either. Again, in general, it was not. The Conservative Party just didn't run a good campaign, and that was the big problem. Was also and also the NDP. I think another reason the Conservatives did actually lose was because the Liberals flipped a bunch of the Bloc Québécois and the Liberals flipped a bunch of NDP seats. Well, mostly the Bloc Québécois flipped a lot of New Democratic Party seats. So yeah, I mean that's how it works. It do be like that sometimes. 2021, we enter Erin O'Toole. Erin O'Toole isn't that bad of a candidate at all. I like him a lot better than Scheer. I mean, Trudeau lost his majority. They lost the majority. And the last election they had 157 seats. Now there's only 155. Granted, that is probably because of vacated seats, and whatnot. And again, this is looking like it'll be an interesting path. Now, how can conservatives win? And arguably, what you have to do really is, I do believe Trudeau hangs on. I don't think O'Toole wins. Um, and again, I just think the Liberal Party has a good grasp on people to the point where they're probably he's probably going to get reelected. But then again, snap elections don't have the highest turnout. I mean, if we go back to 2011, I know if we go back to 2008, only 58.8% of people turned out. So that is a big reason why. And also another thing too really was, snap elections don't have, high turnout. Early elections don't have high turnout. I mean, it's kind of like the midterms in the United States where they don't have that big a turnout. Whether it's for the governorship, House, Senate, whatever. 20 again going to 2021 here. This will be an interesting election. You know this will be an interesting path. I mean, you have Yagmeet Singh, who is hoping to maybe get more seats. I mean, he's not going to get a majority, but there's hope that maybe the NDP could flip. Now, granted, the party I think that needs to be worried about is the Bloc Québécois, because these people, this party could definitely do some serious damage. Now, granted, I act like I care about Canada. I don't care. I'm just covering this because I'm out of ideas to cover. I act like I care. I don't. But in general, again, the Bloc Québécois is a party that I think the Conservatives need to be wary of. It would be wise to form a coalition with them. It would be wise to do that, but they're not going to do that. It would be wise. It would be wise too, though. Um, they don't. They aren't going to do that. But in general, this election does definitely determine the fate of Canada. Again, whether it was Trudeau's uh, like freaking dictator like lockdowns, whether it was him like Western Canada running out of essential supplies because of the lockdowns and the shutdowns. They couldn't get their supplies around. The COVID jails, which, ooh, scary, and those were deemed constitutional, by the way, by the Supreme Court in Ontario, or by the Supreme Court of Canada. It was considered constitutional. So that's a bit scary. Um, so really, you know, the Liberals again, they're in a bad spot, and I think the only thing that's gonna help them is COVID because you know it's Canada. They're a bunch of retards. Um, most of them anyway. Mostly just the people in Ontario and Quebec. But again, one good sign that maybe the COVID things are not popular would be about 2 weeks ago, the province the provincial governor, of I believe it was Newfoundland, or was it? I don't remember what it was. It was some island. Hang on. Hang on. Now if I'm looking at the conservative flip in, I don't remember where it was. Crap, I can't find it. Hang on. Flip. Um. Okay. Okay. Newfoundland. Newfoundland and Labrador. Okay, that. There was a. Okay, so pretty much what happened was, the in Newfoundland and Labrador, Newfoundland had, a province governor election. I believe it was. I don't remember who it was triggered by, but he was up. He was gonna try to get reelected, and a few days prior, the governor there had said he supported vaccine passport mandates, and he goes out there, and the Conservative Party, I believe it was the Progressive Conservative Party, kicks the crap. I lost by like 17, I think. So. It goes to show, he was projected to win easily, and he goes out there and he loses. So arguably, maybe the COVID policies aren't aren't necessarily, you know, popular. Maybe this does mean a conservative victory. I don't know. I don't know. I don't really know what this means. Because again, 2019, I thought Trudeau was going to get destroyed, but I guess not because I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, I mean with the snap election coming up, who knows what'll happen. I mean it was requested by Trudeau, so if he lose, he will lose. He will lose his current majority. He'll form another minority government because they're incompetent. Um, Again, the seats I think they'll flip. I don't really know. The seats that they should probably target are some of some of the seats that the NDP holds. They should probably target some of the liberal seats down here. Um, you know that border Lake Superior. They should probably maybe try to flip a couple. They need to flip some in the Toronto metro area. Definitely need to make inroads in Montreal. Again, Halifax, Prince Edward Island. You're not gonna do anything here, so why even try? I mean, these have been liberal strongholds for quite. I mean, even in Harper's large majority in 2011, they only held this seat in Prince Edward Island. Again, the Bloc Québécois conservatives need to flip Bloc Québécois seats in order to win, and I just don't know if that's gonna happen. Like that's what they need to do is they should form a coalition with them to win. That is what they should have done. They didn't do it, but that's what they should have done. Now, granted, and some new Democratic Party seats, such as maybe some of the if you flip maybe one in Edmonton, maybe that one, maybe that one in Essex, this one. Flip a couple of liberal seats down here. I mean, you're already on your way. I mean, you flip that one, maybe this one. You got to make inroads with the First Nation people, and that's gonna be tough. Maybe flip a couple of these. On some of the outer edges of Toronto, on the Toronto area. Maybe you flip a couple of these. And look at that, you're already really close to actually winning. Now maybe you flip some of these seats. You're only 2 seats away. Maybe you flip this seat, a couple more, and boom, you form a majority government and you become the leading party. Um, so arguably, if that does happen, that's like the minimum, really. Is you just need to flip a couple of bloc Quebecois seats, flip a couple of NDP and Liberal seats, and boom, you do get the victory. Now, do I think that it's gonna happen? No. Do I think that the Liberals will hang on? Yes. Now, granted, you could flip these two up here, in Northwest Territories, and the Northwest Territories and Yukon. You could definitely flip these. This will probably stay with the NDP. Nunavut will stay with the NDP probably. Now, if we're gonna go with the province map, now this is the House of Commons, so this is what actually matters. Um, you need to flip seats in order to win. So I think if we're going off of let's go ahead and head to the Canadian province thing. I think really what the province results will be is Conservatives will hold these. They'll probably flip Northwest Territories and Yukon. Nunavut stays with the NDP. Liberals hold on to all these out here. Ontario is where everything needs to happen. Ontario is going to be where the election comes down to. It's the people of Ontario. Maybe flip a couple of seats in Quebec as well. Again, it all comes down to swaying voters in Ontario, and that's going to be tough. Again, you need to run good candidates in Ontario, and so far the ones I've seen out of Ontario, yeah, okay, they're not the best. They're definitely not the best. So, but I do think out of Ontario, you aren't going to flip Ontario. Like, you aren't going to get a majority of seats there if you're the Conservatives. But hey, if you can flip a couple of them, I mean, you generally would want this to happen. Granted, it doesn't depend on how many provinces you win, but how many seats you get in them. You know, so who knows? This is going to be definitely pretty confusing. It's going to be confusing. You do have the whole Taliban issue. Um, in the fall of Kabul, you have Trudeau's handling of the coronavirus pandemic, which is arguably very controversial. You have the wildfire issue currently going on. That is definitely going to be that's going to be a big issue because there are, as you guys know, if you live in the Midwest at all, you guys have known that there is some serious haze coming down in from the fires in Canada. There is some by the border. One of them is in the boundary waters of Minnesota, so that's interesting. But this is definitely going to be an interesting election. I probably will live stream this. I don't know what day it's on. I might not be able to. Oh, it's on a Monday. Okay, I'm not going to be able to stream it. But hey, what do I know? But this does conclude my pretty much my like how conservatives win. It's flipping seats, taking more seats back in Ontario, taking away some of the bloc Quebecois seats, it's mostly taking away seats from the NDP and bloc Quebecois. That is how you win. Really, is you take away seats from these two. The Green Party really isn't going to do anything. They aren't gonna. The People's Party, I'm not worried about. The bloc Quebecois definitely could be a worrisome party, not because they'll form a majority, but it's because they'll probably take they're just kind of there to take seats away. That's their whole purpose to exist. The NDP thinks they can form a majority. It's not going to happen. But I don't know why I made this. I don't know why I care. I don't care. I just made this because I was bored. And I want something to do because look, guys, I only have 7 days of summer left, okay? And I don't know. I get, again, guys. So again, some changes coming up. My uploading schedule will probably be a bit different. Now granted, as people who are longtime fans of this channel know, I don't have a consistent uploading schedule. So who knows? I don't have a consistent uploading schedule. I upload when I feel like it. The summer generally is when I upload more videos because I have the time. As the school year is really literally right around the bend. 7 days away. Um, I definitely will be slowing down the uploading. You know, there might be more memes than there is actual videos like this, because generally, after school and on weekends, I like to rest up, and just chill out. So probably more live streams. I might be live streaming. I will try to live stream the Canadian election because I don't have to. I don't. Because I can go to bed at 9. I have to go to bed at 9:30. So maybe I'll live stream it. I don't know. Who knows? But either way, this is probably gonna be the last political video for a while. Um, as I'm trying to shy away from politics because I don't want my channel to get nuked. For those of you who know what happened a few weeks ago, um, so. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.